Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 227 of the Nope Coach podcast. I'm your host, Suzanne Culberg. Almost didn't know my name there. This is what happens when you're recording in the morning. And today I'm welcoming Kate Kordsmeier. Did I say that right?
You got it. Nailed it.
Got it. Should have checked before we hit record, but this is how I roll here. And today we're chatting about success without social media. So Kate has her own podcast called Success with Soul, which I highly recommend. And I was listening to it and you said you haven't had social media in like 2 years. And then I was like, okay, sending this lady an email, inviting her to my show, like share your wisdom with us. My first question is, before you stopped social media, were you really active on it, or like what was the story there?
Yeah, great question. Nobody ever asked that question, but that is such a good question. No, I wasn't. I was on it. I had phases like I think a lot of us do, who were like, okay, I'm going to post every day for a month, or I'm going to do this. Like I have definitely gone through phases where I was more active than not. But I would say mostly for the last few years prior, I was begrudgingly there a few times a week, hating it the whole time. And and really not seeing the results from it. So it kind of started as just like, well, I wonder what would happen. Maybe my next challenge, instead of post every day for 30 days, will be do nothing for 30 days and see what happens.
I love this. And for me, it's funny, I've been using social media less and less, but I haven't gone the I'm not going to have social media at all yet, which is another reason I want to talk to you about it. But the turning point for me, and this is why I'm encouraging anyone listening, if you feel that little inkling to spend less time or maybe cut social media out, was one day I was in the park with my son. He's now 8. At the time, I think he was about 4. And you know what kids are like. I know Kate's got 2 kids as well. Watch me, watch me, watch me. And, my phone dinged and I looked at my notification and he looked up at me and he said, "You love your phone more than me." Oh. And in that moment, my heart broke. And I didn't stop social media entirely, but I did really rethink my strategy, the amount of time I was spending on it. I left a lot of the Facebook groups. And so for me, I don't conduct any business via DM. It's very clear on my page that if you want to contact me, send me an email. You can't DM me through Facebook. I worked out how to like disallow that. You can't do it through Instagram. But it's kind of like, I turned off all the dings and bings and bells. And for me, that was a scary thing because I thought, oh, nobody's ever going to want to do business with me, or how they're going to get in contact with me, or, all the scary things we tell ourselves. But it was actually such a successful thing because I then pivoted. Now I teach boundaries. So one of my boundaries is don't contact me via DM for any business stuff. Gifts, memes, jokes, always welcome. But like asking me stuff about my business, that's not how I conduct business. So yeah,
I love it. Well, yes, that I think we can all relate to being too addicted to our phones, and nothing like our kids to be our greatest teachers and just show us, like, shine that mirror on, like, see what you're doing here. So I'm sure that was a painful moment, but hopefully has, resulted in some positive changes now.
Oh, it totally has. And the freedom to not have Facebook or email or any of those things on my phone.
Yeah.
And the amount of time suck it was doing, because sometimes I'd be like, I'm working. For those of you not on video, I'm holding my fingers up, and it's like, am I working, or am I doing research, or am I just scrolling and comparing and despairing and paddling down the river of misery and calling that work? So that was a big step. So I'm curious, when you cut social media, did you do it like that's it? Did you do an announcement, or you just like, how did it happen?
Yeah, I just stopped, and I didn't stop saying I'm never going back again. It was Thanksgiving, which is end of November here in the States. And I remember just going like, I think I'm just through the end of the year, I'm just going to delete it from my phone, not post, not check. Cause I think that's the other piece. Like it's not just not posting. It's not scrolling. It's not being on the app at all. And so it was really just like, I just need a detox, but then it felt so great and I didn't miss it at all. And so then it just kept going. And I really, even still today, I'm always like, I can always change my mind. I can always get back on if I want to, but right now this is what's serving me best. And so Yeah, there was no announcement there, I don't know that anybody even noticed for a while. Probably not.
I love that. Have you seen the Matrix movies?
Yes, but a long time ago. So you'll
The
have to
car, it's
refresh
like you're
me.
unplugged from the Matrix. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
you can always go back. You could plug back in if you so
Yeah.
chose, but then you're like, once I'm out of here. And I love how you made the thing. It's not just about not posting. It's
Yeah.
also about not scrolling, not looking at other people's posts and that kind of thing. Because I think, that is a big time suck. And I use an iPhone, and one of the things on there, it tells you your screen time each week, like how long you
Yes.
spend on there. And if you ever want to be scared, go look at those stats.
100%. Yeah, that was very convicting data for me when I was considering this as well. And I didn't even think that I think prior to this, for like a year prior, I had a screen limit of 15 minutes a day for Instagram. So it wasn't like I was spending tons of time there, but 15 minutes a day is plenty of time to hate yourself after scrolling. So
Oh,
it was
yeah.
enough.
And also, too, if the 15 minutes a day is the time that you spend scrolling and then you're cut out, how long do you spend afterwards in your head? Like
Yes.
all the thoughts and guilt and shame, and compare that stays with you even if you're not actively scrolling at the time.
Totally. And I will admit, like, I have gone to the browser, like Instagram.com, a couple of times throughout the past 2 years to either see something specific that I'm looking for, or actually, I think it's always been just like, oh, there's something specific I want to see. And I get caught in the scroll, or like, I get on there for one thing in particular. And then the first post that pops up is like, oh, what's this? And then you get caught in the spiral. And I just did it a couple of months ago, and I felt so horrible about myself within 5 minutes that I was like, this is why I don't do this. Get off. Like, this was just confirmation that I do not need to be here.
I think that is such a great point for everybody. When we do, and I love how you said, I didn't promise I'd never come back. I didn't make a big declaration. I just decided not to. Sometimes we do slip back into old habits or old patterns. And instead of beating ourselves up or, shaming or shouldn'ting or whatever, to go, actually, this is why I don't do this anymore. Like,
Mm-hmm.
whenever I, go and slam into a pack of Tim Tams or a family block of chocolate or something, I used to like guilt and shame and beat myself up so much. I've recovering binge eating disorder, but now it's just like, and this is why we don't do this anymore. Like, so whenever you're trying to give up or do something less, and then the temptation happens or the moment happens where you do, participate in it again, it's just evidence of why you've changed. There's nothing to shame yourself about.
Yeah, for sure. Such a good point.
So how do you do your business? How do people find you? Like, what, now that you don't have social media, because that is for so many people, it's like they go to look for your Instagram or Facebook, like it's just the done thing now. It's
Yeah.
interesting. A few months ago, I deleted my LinkedIn because I was like, I never use this. I never check it. And on the rare occasion I do go to it, it's full of spam. So I deleted it entirely. And I was on someone's podcast recently and they're like, you don't have a LinkedIn. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I love it. So yeah, how do you go about with the business without social media?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple of key things that I did. The first is that I didn't delete my account, which there's an argument maybe that that's one way to go. But what I ended up putting up, like, basically saying, I want my Instagram profile. I know people are still going to look me up there if they're considering working with me. I don't want them to think like the business is shut down, I've died, like who knows what's happened. She hasn't posted in a year, what's going on. So I kind of made my 9 grid like a website portfolio almost. Here's what I want you to know about me. Here's who I am, how I can help you, and why I don't hang out here anymore. So the very last post of my Instagram is about how I'm no longer on social media. And if you want to hang out with me, you can come here. And I direct people to my website. So that I think has, I mean, it's hard to measure exactly how well it's worked or not, but I think it's at least helped people not think that I'm a defunct business or something like that because I'm not posting there or because I don't have a profile. And then the second main, I would say there's 2 main strategies for how I get clients still, and that would be SEO. And so search engine optimization, I am a big fan. My background is in journalism and then blogging. And so I've kind of brought that with me to my business now, and really rely on organic search traffic as one of the key ways to get people to find you. And then email marketing, just once people find me, then I'm very active with my email list and do most of my sales and conversations through there. So not like groundbreaking strategies, just sort of like classic back to basics. This works and doesn't make me, want to quit my business all the time.
I love that. And it's funny, I absolutely love email marketing as well. And people often give me blank looks or like, what? And I'm like, I email my list typically once a week, unique stuff that you don't find. And it's not like here's on the blog, because that's one of my pet peeves. It's like, I could have just read your blog. Like, why did I waste time opening this? And then if people respond and I encourage them to, then we have a discussion. Like, maybe it's my old school pen pal days coming out. I said that to my kids the other day. I said something about a pen pal and they gave me blank looks. And I was like, oh, but we don't have that anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I think email is still one of the best ways, if not the best way, to just actually reach the people that, I think social media has some stat that's like less than 6% of your followers will ever see what you post. And email marketing, people generally have 25 to 50% open rates. So just a much better chance of getting seen by your people.
And also too, and I think, most people are aware of this, but it bears, repeating. If something happens to social media, because people have that all the time, they either get hacked or they say something that's hits the filter and their account gets disabled or, whatever it is, then you've lost whatever list or following you've built. Like, yes, you could start another account and, hope and pray and trust that they come to that. But with the email list, like you have that direct connection to your people. You don't have social media as the middleman.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's the classic, maybe cliche of like, don't start your business on rented land, and you need to own, be a homeowner.
I love that. And so I want to do another episode because I want to ask you all about SEO, because I understand it as in search engine optimization, but beyond that, I'm not I wouldn't know where to start. So in terms of this episode, let the listeners know what you do and where they can find you, and any offers or whatever you think might be relevant for, success without social media.
Yes. If you are interested in success without social media, I definitely would love to welcome you to the Mindful Business Academy, which is sort of my all access pass to almost everything that I've ever created lives inside that, including courses on SEO and how to quit social media and still grow your business. So you can find all of those details at successwithsoul.co/MBA.
MBA, like the national basketball.
Get your MBA. Yeah.
Or M for like.
M for mindful.
Yeah,
mindful Business Academy. Yeah.
I always say that with the accent sometimes, could be quite, Mindful Business Academy. I love that. Yes. Yeah. I should have. This is what happens when Suze does things first thing in the morning.
It's all right. I get it.
Thank you so much for joining us, Kate. Oh, and also your podcast, Success with Soul. I highly recommend you guys go tune into that. I've been listening to it the last few days. It's fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.